Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Updates. We've got some breaking news out of the Busch and SeaWorld parks.
Everywhere,
where some interesting information has been leaked by a number of different places. One of those is Wild Gravity Travels. They seem to be the ones to have broken the news, possibly, and other people have picked up on it, and other people have found images to support it where...
we got some images now to back up all the rumors we've been hearing for several weeks now.
So the story goes that there is a presentation somewhere that was given to investors about the future of SeaWorld parks, and it contains some information about the roller coasters coming up. So it starts in San Diego with the Horizon Skywarp model. That we kind of heard about already through the grapevine. We haven't really reported on it just because we didn't think it was that big of a deal, to be honest with you.
No, it is kind of like a small edition, but they're certainly not going all in with a full-blown Skywarp or even the Eclipse model like Six Flags Discovery Kingdom did. So they're starting out small. Small family thrill. I mean, it does go upside down, but still a small, non-intimidating attraction, really. So that's kind of the first domino to fall here to really help us discover if all of this is true.
It also has the RMCing of Gwazi in there. It has obvious pictures of Steel Vengeance on it. Some general information about hybrids. So that's all kind of stuff that we kind of knew, I think, coming off of that Tigress announcement.
That's where we got the RMC.
The RMCing of Gwazi is like the obvious answer, so that's not surprising at all for 2020. But then it does have other information. We've been hearing rumblings that new coasters were going in both at Williamsburg and at San Antonio. So I guess let's start with San Antonio because that's the one that's going to be less of a disappointment. According to this, a new wood coaster will be going into San Antonio. That will be the largest wood coaster in Texas. Not a huge feat to overcome. Currently, you have to Judge Roy Scream.
Judge Roy Scream, Boardwalk Bullet. Is there? Do you have any wood coasters at some of those other smaller parks?
Switchback.
You got Switchback. Yeah.
So I think we've named all the wood coasters in Texas. I'm trying to even think at the smaller
Joyland, I don't think has one. Wonderland doesn't have one. Frontier Cities in Oklahoma, New Mexico Rattlers.
That's even if you want to include that, that's not really super big.
New Mexico Rattler, even if you include that, is on the small side. So, I mean, ever since Texas Giant and Rattler went away and became the Iron Horses, there really is not much of a wood coaster. Boardwalk Bullet is a fantastic ride, but, it's kind of out of the way. Not many people get down that way. So there certainly is room for a really good wood coaster, especially in San Antonio. Seeing that neither SeaWorld nor Six Flags Fiesta Texas have one right now. We've been talking about Fiesta Texas doing a GCI for some time, and they still haven't. So
they have that stinking. We've all seen the CGI at this point of what was it? The Rye? Was it Rye Playland aeroplane or what? Where was that?
Yeah, about possibly doing something like that. Yeah,
that looked really cool. So. This one, we don't have a manufacturer for it, but you have to imagine that it's going to be, I would probably guess Gravity Group because they just worked with Invader at Williamsburg. I could totally see them doing
Invader was GCI, but Oscar's Wacky Taxi was Gravity Group.
Wait a minute. Invader's GCI? I forget that all the time. Oh my God.
Yeah, Invader's GCI.
Because they used GCI trains, that's right.
Because they reused all the Gwazi stuff, but then for Sesame Place they went Gravity Group. So it'll be interesting to see what route they go there. Because Invader 75 feet or so, nothing huge. This will probably be a bit larger than that but
it has to be bigger because Kima Boardwalk Bullet is a sizable. It's not huge,
Yeah,
but
I think it's like
not small.
95, 100 feet or so. It's
Yeah.
a good size ride, and the images that came out said that they were looking for some superlatives out of this. You know, longest,
Yeah.
maybe tallest and fastest wood coaster in Texas. So if you were going to go that size, if you're talking GCI, you're talking like a Gold Striker sized ride, which I think Gold Striker is about 108 feet, I think is the stat there. From Gravity Group, they haven't done anything, at least in the States, really of that size
But
since
their stuff
ride.
overseas is pretty impressive.
Right. The most recent thing that they did of that sort of magnitude and size in the States was maybe Boardwalk Bullet and Ravine Flyer, and I mean like Voyage and Hades. Their more recent stuff over here has been the Wooden Warriors, the Rorosaurus, the Switchbacks, your Wasker's Wacky Taxi type rides. So it'll be interesting to see if for a bigger style ride who they would finally settle on, because I don't get the impression that they would be going RMC here, but if they're doing the Gwazi project, there may be incentive to do an RMC, but I don't get that impression from this.
I don't get that impression either, but you never know. You never know. I also find it strange. I don't know, a wood coaster themed to SeaWorld, I don't know, just seems strange to me.
It seems like it'll be a tough sell. Now, I mean, maybe you have, I don't know if it says it's going to be based in this turtle area. So they're bringing Turtle Trek there. Is that the deal here, or they have brought Turtle Trek? Is Turtle Trek there? I don't even know.
Not yet. That's the speculation that they're going to bring Turtle.
So I mean, the obvious theme for a wood coaster for me would be like a shipwreck or something. But that doesn't really fit into the Sea World in terms of the animals. Maybe that's what they're going for.
The wild card too is if they would bring, because they already have the Sesame Street stuff there, would they just do Oscar's Wacky Taxi and do a different version of it? You know, it seems more like a family coaster to me than what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean something bigger would seem to be like a Snuffleupagus ride or something. And then they can do the Big Bird Wing Coaster in 2022.
The Big Bird Wing Coaster. So there you go. Just do all Sesame Street. So that one I think is pretty cool, pretty exciting for San Antonio, pretty exciting for Texas overall to get.
Yeah, there's potential for that one for sure.
So the more confusing one, and this is going to be the one that I think is going to set some people off, because a lot of people already have penciled in for 2020 a Giga coaster going to Williamsburg.
Well, every time someone picks up a shovel, it's a Giga, right? Now these days.
People have been asking us on YouTube in the comments, when are you going to talk about the Giga? When are you going to talk about the Giga? Well, guess what, folks? We don't have to talk about a Giga, because according to this, it's not a Giga.
The exact opposite of what Sir Brian Bass would say. It's not a Giga.
It's not a Giga. According to this, it's a shuttle coaster. Like, I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around this, because the one part that's interesting is it says that the biggest drop and the max speed is going to be able to be seen from the Festa Italia Bridge.
Yeah.
At the end of the ride. So
if you look at the images, and again, we don't know how accurate, if at all, these are. These could just be concept drawings, but you can clearly see Apollo's Chariot and Tempesto off to the left, and then there is a big spike that almost looks like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that Intamin ride that people talk about over in China. I think it's called Soaring with Dragon. It's the Skyrush colors that has the big backward spike, and then it's got the non-inverting loop. That's exactly what this looks like to me.
I'm at a loss.
You know the ride I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what ride you're talking about. I'm thinking, Arrow had that spike concept way back when in Vegas that put the company out of business.
Yeah, the fish hook.
Yeah, the fish hook thing. We have examples of with the old Schwarzkopf shuttle loops. I don't know what this is going to be, but It says it's going to be a launch coaster. It says max speed, somewhere in the mid 70s. And then it calls it a family coaster, though. Like,
well, yeah. So, how are you doing a
family coaster at 54 inches tall? Max speed is 75. I don't know. You're going 75 miles an hour off a launch?
A multi-launch shuttle coaster, 76 miles per hour or whatever it is, with a 54-inch height requirement. That nothing about that says family ride to me.
Nothing at all, and that's where I'm just befuddled. I'm just befuddled about this ride, where I just don't know where they're going with it. It's kind of completely out of left field. I don't even know what company they're going to be working with, because they've worked with Premier a lot recently. They've worked with Intamin. You brought up Soaring with Dragon. They just did Wavebreaker. Supposedly at Orlando, they're doing another family launch. Because we didn't say about Orlando that they're doing another family launch coaster that sounds a lot like Wavebreaker.
It sounds like it fits the description of. It fits the description of a Wavebreaker or a Wavebreaker type ride. Now, the slide there that I saw said they hadn't determined the manufacturer and a theme yet, but it would seem like maybe that's the way they're going to go here. But, I mean, to read off the stats here, Soaring with Dragon, 3,438 feet, 197 feet tall, speed 77.7 miles per hour with one inversion. The LSM triple launch is what it is. It's forward, backward, and then forward again, and it's with enough speed to crest the non-inverting loop, and it's got the big vertical spike. And
I'll tell you what, Danny Miller,
that seems to be exactly what they're describing here.
It does, and I'll tell you what else. This is crazy, but if you look at the trains for Soaring with Dragon, it's got a beautiful dragon head on the front.
Yes, it does.
And I don't know, when I think dragons and I think Busch Gardens, I naturally think Drakenfire.
Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. Now, the problem is Drakenfire was back in the Oktoberfest area, so if you're putting this in Italy...
But maybe... So they say... Here's the thing, though.
Is it the new country that we've been hearing Spain for years, right? They make the joke there. They make the joke there that every time someone picks up a shovel, people say Spain is coming.
Well, is it the new Spain? Is it we hear that you're going to be able to see the fastest and tallest drop from Festa Italia, but does that mean it starts in Italy? I don't know. If it's as big as what you're saying, it could start anywhere, right? Like, it's going to be on that side of the park. I don't think it's going to start in Oktoberfest, but if you're going to build a brand new section, is Drakenfire, it's Oktoberfest, it's Germany themed, but I don't know. I like the name, and I think there's some history there with the park. I think that could work.
Okay, so here we go. I'm looking back. Let's follow this through here for a second. I just Googled Spain. I just Googled Spain Dragon Legends, just to see what comes up, right?
Yeah.
So if I go to the Wikipedia page for Spanish mythology in general, the Black Dragon of the Enchanted Wool is an option. The Bull of Teruel. Could it be like a bull themed ride?
It could. If you're doing Spain, then I think bull theme is the way to go. Call it El Toro, right?
Call it El Toro. It would be the best El Toro on the East Coast. But built by Intamin, ironically enough. Here we go. Anyways, not getting on that one tonight. But yeah, I mean, what's going to be funny here, what's going to be really funny about all of this is people have said, oh, Intamin should build something like Soaring with Dragon over here. And then if this is what it's going to be, people are going to riot about it because they wanted it to be. It's like, hold on.
What are you doing? It's not
ever since that ride opened 2 or 3 years ago, all you people wanted one over here, and now you're getting one, and you're going to bitch and moan about it. So that's going to be the fun part.
If it is Soaring with Dragons, that ride looks legit. Like
The ride looks really good. So I said to you a little earlier tonight, I said, you know what? It looks like it could be something along the lines of Max Force that's just a shuttle, the way they're describing it. And I don't know that that would be a terrible thing. Is it a Giga Coaster? No. But I think you and I have kind of been shying away from the idea that this would definitely be a Giga Coaster because we hadn't really seen anything solid to support that. I mean, the fact that it's a roller coaster and seems like it's going to be a roller coaster doesn't confirm that it's a Giga Coaster. Just because you get a height variance doesn't mean you're going to go to that full height. Steel Force at Dorney Park, they got a height variance for over 225 feet, and it only ended up being 200 feet tall with a 205-foot drop. So just because you get a variance doesn't mean you're using up that entire height. So that doesn't really tell you a whole lot of things. So, and it's possible that this thing could have like a 250-foot spike. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'll tell you what, I'm looking for unique ride experiences. And yeah, I love Fury. Yeah, I love Millennium Force. But if they start building Gigas left and right, like I like Leviathan. I'm not in love with Leviathan. I don't know if you building a Giga automatically makes me fall in love with it. Like, okay, you have a 300-foot drop. What else are you going to do? This seems like it's a little bit interesting. It's a little bit different. It has the only – obviously, I don't think the layout's going to look anything like this. It has a lot of similarities to Tempesto with the non-inverting loop and all that junk. I guess not really, but whatever. But anyway, I'm looking for a unique ride experience, and if they do something like this, I think that's pretty cool. And I think that might have hit the nail on. I was trying to envision what they were talking about and what this could possibly be, and I think Soaring with Dragons is probably the closest we're going to come to kind of conceptualizing what this could be.
That ride absolutely fits the description of everything they discussed there. Except for the final drop, that doesn't necessarily mean that the final drop and the top speed occur at the same spot. That doesn't necessarily mean that.
That technically it's not the final drop, but it's the final drop on that end of the ride. You got to go back to get to the station still.
Well, and here's what I would question.
And the top speed would be right there because you got to get enough speed to get back through the entire course.
Right,
so
and that's the one.
An LSM launch right there, out to back to the other side.
Well, and that's the one difference here is that Soaring with Dragon is a complete circuit. It does go all the way around. So that's the one difference here. It does go back into the station and it kind of rolls out, and then there's a transfer track that slides in so it can go back up that spike. That spike is a separate section of track. So it would not be exactly like Soaring with Dragon,
or
based on
they
the
don't
description.
know what they're talking about.
Or they don't know what they're talking about, which is very true.
Which is very possible that they're calling it a shuttle coaster when it might not be a shuttle coaster. Maybe I don't know.
Well, and if your definition of shuttle here, let's see what the definition of shuttle is just for shiggles here. It says a form of transportation that travels regularly between two places. So you could argue that because it goes forward and backwards, that qualifies as a shuttle coaster, even though it's a shuttle coaster that then goes all the way around.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see, but I'm just trying to conceptualize stuff. And
I think that's the closest you would come, really.
And that's the closest I'm going to come, at least in this world. So we will keep you updated on what's going on. SeaWorld also kind of, hinted at maybe some of this stuff like to other, because a lot of media outlets picked up on this, and SeaWorld has responded to a couple of the tweets, tongue-in-cheek saying, hey, maybe that is right. So they're not shying away from it, which is cool because, all these people are always like, oh, there's a leak. Oh, so many people are pissed off. Everyone's covering it. It's on the news. That's called free publicity, free advertising.
And they're playing right along with it. They're playing right along with it, which is
thrilled to have people talking about SeaWorld and not talking about the negatives. So
well, when that hasn't happened in a long time, and it's funny because with Invader and Tempesto and everything, even Wavebreaker, the SeaWorld parks were announcing way, way early, like over a year in advance of ride openings. So it seems as if they're kind of getting back to we're going to announce when everyone else is announcing, because now we're on the uptick a little bit here. And not only are we going to do that, we're going to start playing the teaser campaign game, but instead of teasing out in the parks, we're going to let little things out here and there. And then when you tweet about us, we're going to tease you about it and say, well, maybe.
You never know. So we will keep you updated here on all the latest out of SeaWorld, but it does look like to be a lot of exciting stuff. Maybe not what people were expecting, but definitely exciting nonetheless. So as always, I am Andy Rabarchak from Chicago, Illinois.
And Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Ride Warriors.
See you next time, guys. Thanks.